Hello everyone, welcome to Scorched Earth Toys at anymoon.com's transformation guide for Yamato's 1/60 scale VF11 toys. This is the gray VF11B as seen in Macross Plus. I'm going to take you through transformation. It begins with the legs. Behind or below these super parts anchors are two tabs that lift up from the leg and into the upper body. Also on the arms there are little tabs that reach into the legs. So the trick to beginning transformation is to free up these tabs from these holes, as well as this tab from that hole. So you can do this by just applying gently a little pressure out away from the body and down on the leg. Now as you do this, it might naturally occur, but you also need to pull out the leg away from the knee. As so. So now you can see you've got a gear walk pose coming together. And you're going to want to extend the feet and open them up like you do on pretty much any Valkyrie toy. Alright, the next step of transformation is to pivot the entire body up at this axis point right here. So you bring the body up away from the hips, which have little pegs of their own, so they might offer a little bit of resistance. And then from here, you're just going to push what will become the shoulder area down, and you're going to have to get around the shield on the arms to do that. You can also at this point just remove that shield. We'll apply that again later. And these triangles behind the shoulders, you can pull those down. Like so. Okay, the next part is getting the arms into the proper position. So you're going to separate the arms, which have a little peg that holds them together, and then you're going to pull up these tabs here, which expose the pivot points that the shoulders are on. So you're going to want to start by pulling up at the base of the shoulder. You can see there's a rotation going on there. And that brings the arm all the way out like so. We'll just do the same thing over here. Now if this part pops off, it's just connected by two little pegs, so it's pretty easy to get back onto place. And you just bring it over. Now this one, there's two rotation points. So you want to make sure you're using the right one. So there you go. Now there's a little triangle cut into the black. So you can see when you've got it in the right spot. Now you can pivot at the other end, so this black is touching up against the gray, and your shoulder is in the proper position. Alright, you're probably pretty familiar with this next step, but you open the trapdoor and just rotate out the fists. Okay, so we're almost at gear walk mode. The next step is to bring these back flaps up. I'm going to do one at a time to show you a nice little gimmick that Yamato included. There is a sliding mechanism right here. And what you do is you slide that forward. And when you get it all the way down, that mechanism has connected this back plate with the front plate of what was fighter mode. And that then leads to a very secure gear walk mode without a drooping back. Alright, you're really close to gear walk mode now. You want to be careful as you do this next step that these flaps that are used for Batroid mode are tucked in tightly. Then you're just going to pivot this entire back section down and reconnect them to those pegs in the front of the hips. So you bring that down, just apply a little bit of pressure, things pop together like so. Then you would just bring your arms down. If you've hit the peg on the front of your nose cone, the cockpit might sink in. Alright, so there you are. Now, if you haven't done it already, you need to bring these fins in, slide them up and in. up, in, and then you're going to reconnect the shield via one of these two pegs to the slot in the arm, like so. And now you're in gearwalk mode. Okay, when you're done playing with gearwalk mode, the toughest part of transform to Batroid mode is the first step. And that is because you're going to try to get the heat shield over this canopy. So to begin, move this lever forward. That allows you to recess the canopy. And then there's a little peg inside the neck that connects the nose cone to the neck. And you're just going to gently push forward, and that will free the nose cone. Now there's not a lot of pressure on that peg, although on some toys I've heard that there was more and it caused that peg to break. That would be a big, very bad thing. So just try to do it gently. Hopefully, unless you have some sort of manufacturer problem, you won't have an issue. The shield on the arm stays on very poorly, on mine at least. So if you didn't pull it off, it'll probably fall off on your own like mine just did. Now you want to flip the toy upside down. That is going to cause the lower part of the heat shield to slide forward. Now the problem is, if you can flip it back over and it sinks, it hasn't been pulled out far enough. This is an incredibly difficult thing to pull off. And you'll see online, lots of people don't pull it off correctly. And then there's a little gap between their lower heat shield and their upper heat shield, because you can kind of fake it by pressing enough pressure from this peg, getting the canopy to push forward and hold the pieces in place even though they're not connected properly. So what you need to do is get this bottom heat shield all the way forward, and it's going to be very hard to pull off. So now, just to show you what it looks like when you've done it, because it's going to take me some effort without a camera in front of me, I'm going to go ahead and remove the canopy, the cockpit, and bring down the heat shield. And now, this is not easy to do even without the canopy in it. I'm going to have that piece pulled forward like so. So now it's in the right spot, and now you can see it's not coming down. So you can imagine doing that with the canopy in place, the cockpit in place. That is a very difficult step. So I'm going to go ahead and try to do that, and I wish you the best of luck in accomplishing it as well. Okay, once you've got the bottom part locked in place, you're ready to move on. And what I ended up doing was I found a set of tweezers and I wrapped them in a tissue, and then I just put the heat shield in there and kind of pulled very gently forward. Obviously a tissue is not a lot of defense against scratching paint, so be careful if you go that route like I was. Alright, so now you're ready to bring the upper part of the heat shield down, which is easy to accomplish in comparison to what you've already done with the lower half. You just have to push in with the canopy still recessed as much as it will. You're just going to push forward on this little hinge here, and you can bring up the back, keep pushing forward, and now there's a little tab in the top that is going to go into that bottom section, which is why it was very important you had it out all the way. And there you go. Now you've got your heat shield with minimal gap. Alright, the rest of transformation is pretty straightforward. Bring the nose cone back tight up against the body, and then pivot at the same pivot point you've pivoted earlier to bring the body up and over. Now straighten out your legs. And earlier in transformation we pulled the legs out. You now need to make sure that they are tight and recessed. Now I just had a little shield come off of the fist on my toy. That should probably be glued on there, but I'll put it back on real quick. Okay, so now this flap here comes down and pegs below the peg that held the neck to the nose cone. First, let's move these flaps out and create the gap covers next to the neck of the toy. So now you bring that down like so. So now that door is trapped in place. And you're going to be able to swing your head forward. The next few steps feel a little like an awkward return to the modes that you had just come from. You're going to pull the pegs out that you had used as gear walk supports, and that frees up this mechanism here. So you're going to bring, close the fins a little bit here. You're going to bring your arms forward like you want them to be in Batroid mode. You're going to bring these flaps back. You're going to bring your arms back up out of the way. And that's going to free up room for this triangle to swing back. So now you have the ability to swing the arms back down, just like they were in gear walk mode. But now the back of the toy fits firmly into place. Alright, now you're just some easy fine-tuning away from having a pretty nice Batroid mode. So turn the toy around, flip up these back parts, you will reveal two levers that slide forward. These don't really serve much of a purpose other than creating a more anime-accurate Batroid mode. It's kind of difficult unless you have long fingernails. You need to pull this peg forward like so. And let's see if I can do it while facing forward here. Look right here next to the shoulder. A little bump extends forward. Ugh. There you go. Not very much going on. Again, it just makes it a little more anime accurate. Then you can fold these pieces back down. Bring these triangles up. And you're really close now. This head laser, I often forget to do this step. This head laser actually slides forward. Like so. And there you have it. You would put your heat shield back on. And you are in Batroid mode. Alright, it probably goes without saying, but everything I said in this review is also applicable to the VF11C toy. Visit anymoon.com for my full text review. I'll have plenty of pictures of both these toys, and I also have a video review. Thanks for watching.